Hello, hello, hello. This is Tom from Tom and Ruth Philippine Adventures. Today's video coming up is challenges in the Philippines may be a little different than what we're accustomed to living in the West. The point is this. I want to just kind of talk about this briefly. The point is this. Things aren't always the same all the time. Well, we're accustomed sometimes it may be. So I want to talk about this briefly. The reason I'm talking about this today is in the United States, we always have what they call someone is accountable for something. If you have a problem with, say, your garbage pickup, you can always just kind of pick up the phone or find someone to talk to and say, hey, listen, my garbage is not being picked up. Here in the Philippines, you may or may not have a problem with that. Where I'm at, there's a problem with it. The guy that picks it up all the time, the truck may not come by. They may miss a week or two or three or four. You may have a problem with that. Getting things done sometimes can be a hassle. And I don't care if you've been here 1 month or 1 year or 10 years or 20 years. You still may have to fight that particular battle. And it can be complicated. Another thing you have to be aware of is, listen, you may have someone that has loud music that's playing all night long, or someone that's karaoke all night long, or someone that just plays music in general on their tricycle for 12, 14 hours a day. You're going to have that. Once you say, for instance, you go out there and say, hey, if you don't mind, can you turn it down? Does that mean it's going to be okay today? It may be okay today until next week whenever they crank it back up. Here in the Philippines, they don't have police. Police does not, they have police, but it's in the city. Well, let me restate that. They have what they call enforcers. And there is a police department. You can go down there and say, hey, I have a problem out here. I have to get this resolved, this, that, and other. Well, you may or may not get someone out there. Here's a prime example. My brother-in-law was telling me this morning they lived right next to a bar. A bar opened up next to them. Used to be a gas station, now it's a bar. The bar plays music anywhere from 9 o'clock at night to 3 in the morning, depending. Every night, 7 days a week. There's no nights off. They went to the mayor and said, okay, we need to have this resolved. Okay, what they did, they turned it down for about 4 days, and now it's back up again. So he was telling me that is a problem, and that they have to contend with that. And that's something they're trying to work out with the business owner. Well, that problem may or may not. What people are doing, instead of fighting it, they will just pick up and move. Well, what if you own the property, you just can't pick up and move? It's not like, okay, so they called down the police department to get enforcers to come out and say, hey, you need to turn that down. Well, the enforcers ended up staying at the bar themselves and watching them play the music and this, that, and other. You'll find that things are just a little bit different. And what I mean, another thing is, here's something that I just recently realized myself. We, as you know, sometimes have issues happens with the internet. We called them and told them, say, please turn off our internet service. We're not going to pay this month's bill because it's been off for the whole month. And why should we pay it? Within 3 hours, the internet comes back on. All right. Not only does it come back on for us, it comes on for everybody. All right. Isn't that amazing? So, but yet they still want us to pay the bill of 2,600 peso, which is $52. Now, should we, or 52 or $54. Should we pay that bill in order to keep peace in our life? Or if I don't pay that bill, even though they're going to bill me from now until forever, we canceled it for that 2,600 plus to add interest on top of that. All right, you save face and paint it. Say, for instance, you do and you pay the bill. But here is another scenario with that. Even though they disconnected you and you're offline, you're off service, even though you paid them and they're telling you you're on a yearly contract. What if you cannot, you're on a yearly contract? What do you mean yearly contract? Show me the contract. That's another thing you got to be aware of. You have to kind of fight the battle with that. Ruth and I have realized, and Ruth is learning herself, There are things that you have control over. There are things that you cannot have control over. If your electricity is not paid, they turn it off immediately, and they turn it off immediately for anybody, anything over a certain amount for sure. If someone owes 150, 250, 350 peso, they can go for months and not have to pay it. But they only let it go for up to 3 months, especially on water and or electric or things like that. It's automatically cut off after that period of time. There's no arrearages you have to pay. I learned that out recently because I went to the mountain and they pay $3,000 a month for water. Amazing. So if you look at another scenario that I thought about that this happened to us is when we go to town, it's normal business to find someone that you like and enjoy, and you get things repaired and or replaced on your vehicle, or maybe a watch or something needs to be repaired or replaced. But I noticed here recently, here in the Philippines, their prices have increased, which is always the same. I mean, always is fine because that's the way life is. But something that is really starting to distinguish is service-oriented businesses are increasing their prices. The thing that we pay in USA, we pay when we buy groceries and things like that. Basically, groceries, anything that's not service or labor-oriented is cheap here. It's cheap. Like rent is cheaper in some cases, not all. Your service-oriented, getting your aircon fixed, aircon cleaned, say for instance you're going to get your teeth done, or the glasses are turning, is cheaper here in the Philippines. But everything else is expensive or more here than it is in US. There's no way in the world I would pay $60 for water. Now we only pay $3. But there are other people I'm finding out that I'm getting emails. They're paying more money in general. They're paying up to $30, $60, $80, $200 a month for water because there's no sole source for water where they live. It's like up in Luzon. It's like in Manila. They're out of water, and so their bills are, some are paying 500, some are paying 8,000 peso for water in some of the areas. Now, that would be hard for me to believe. One of my subscribers is 30 years to get water to their house, and they're paying about 700-800 peso a month. So it's amazing. Even $716 in the Philippines for water, $20 for water. It's just unbelievable. I didn't pay that much in the United States of America, including my septic, reclaimed water, and a brand new house that I had built. So you have to be prepared for things that it's not always as it's going to be or seem to be. When you purchase land, and say you go to the attorney to say, okay, is this my land? And you go around and do all the things you want to do, you may find the situation you don't own anything, and the person that sold you the land don't even own the land to begin with. So there are things that you just will drive you insane, and you have to kind of be prepared for it. Right now, there's a gentleman outside's been playing music now for 2 weeks solid. He's got one of those big boombox speakers, like what they play at church, and he cranks that up almost as high as it'd go. He is like 6 houses down, but it's like he's right next to me. Now, the people have told him many times, not me, to turn it down, but he will not turn it down. You cannot stand outside, and thank goodness I have an expandable house that I could do this. If I did not have this expandable house, I actually probably would be run out of the Philippines. There is no way in the world you can deal. And I'm out, guys. I'm not like it's like I'm in town. And even in town, I was talking to a friend of mine, another American that lives in town, that he's having the same issues, and he's finding himself, so he would move another place. He has found, and he moved up to Iloilo, and he's dealing with the same situations he dealt in Marama. You're going to have to prepare yourself that things could be rosy today, but it may not be rosy tomorrow. And then what if you're going to do? Now, if you have a problem in the United States of America for water, if you have a problem for sewage, if you have a problem on a TV, if you have a problem on something, sure, you can get all those things fixed. You have to pay the bill. But if someone's playing music at no loud noise, you can get that fixed. If someone is rearing a motorcycle up at 3 a.m. as high as it can go, and they keep doing it and doing it and doing it, not often, once or twice, 3 times a month, but wakes you up and keeps you up, that will be solved in the United States. Here, it's not solved. See, something completely different also I want to point out. Sometimes, this is something that I've really noticed this recently, that the children, and I'm talking children, the young men and women, there are anywhere from 14 to 22. They have a different atmosphere. In other words, the parents let them do what they want to do, even as younger children at 4, 5, 6 years old. If a child wants to get up and play on his game at 3 a.m. and he is 7 years old or 9 years old, they let them do it here. Children, if they don't want to go to school, and the parents that go to school, they sometimes let the students stay home. If they don't feel like doing something, they will not make them do things. Where I come from in America, if we're told to go pick up a piece of paper off the ground, we go pick that piece of paper up, or we get hit in the head with a hammer. Not really, but I get a spanking. Here, I was listening to a conversation in church that, yeah, my child was up at 3 a.m. playing the games. Your child is 10? Why is your child up at 3 a.m. playing games? Well, they're playing games on the gadgets. Well, I tried telling them to turn it off, but they're not doing it. So you have to really be prepared for that. So that's really interesting. So I want to thank everybody for always watching my videos. These are just observations that I've noticed, and I want you guys to hear that. God bless everybody, and thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next time.